Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Flash, and this is SportsbookReview.com, and it's March into Madness with Donnie and Max. Yesterday, well, you just threw the balls up in the air and just see how they landed. You had Louisville take the lead in the Atlantic Coast, and you had Seton Hall last second on the buzzer, Donnie, get it done.
Yeah, no, what a great night in college basketball. It depends on actually who you bet on, but if you were watching some of these scores, some wildness takes place. And I got to say, Flash, because I know you liked one of my tweets last night, Seton Hall playing at 6:30 on Fox Sports 1. They never get off to a good start. Sometimes maybe you have to just lay off that and say, you know what, Seton Hall, I'm going to take you second half, but they pulled that game out. A wild night that we're going to get into for sure here, Flash.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get beat all the way through the game. I thought they were definitely up for the L, Max.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot last night. I thought that Butler was going to come out a little more flat and they weren't going to challenge, but getting out to an early lead and really pressing Seton Hall for at least the first 30 to 35 minutes of the game was very entertaining. It filled up my half an hour before the 7 o'clock game start, and I thank them for that.
Good. What about Loyola Chicago, Donnie? Putting up 50 in the second half to beat Illinois State. They covered and they won.
Yeah, good basketball team. You know, you wondered how they would come off that victory, Flash, over Northern Iowa, but they played very well. Came out to a nice first half, but actually were down at the half, 38-34, but then dropped 50 in the second half, and you would say very un-Loyola Chicago-like because they're not that up-tempo team, but Illinois State in that conference in the MVC, they will push the basketball, and that played right into the hands of Loyola, dropping 50 in the second half, covering their team total and the game. Impressive for them as they head towards March Madness, or should I say Arch Madness down the stretch.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Really starting to get a handle on some of these teams, but I'm 100% sure that some of them are just relaxing, thinking we've made it, let's stay fit, let's just put everything into March. And that can come back and bite you on the backside, Max. Virginia scores 78 points. What's going on there?
Hey, listen, I think that's just a matter of teams want to come out of their shell. There's guys on Virginia that are finding their shots. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. I tried to do it yesterday and I butchered it. I think we all know who I'm talking about. He's the three-point shooter, junior college transfer. But the reality is Boston College defense was leaky like a freaking boat in a river taking on water, and Virginia was able to take advantage of it at home. I don't think that we're going to see this on the regular, but we are going to see it once in a while from the Wahoos.
Okay, cue the smile, cue the hands in the air. Michigan, no points needed. Money line, who had that one then?
I don't know. Somebody was on here yelling about, we don't need no stinking points. And, you know, New Jersey teams, you don't come into the rack and just come in and get victories. Well, they got a victory last night. I got to tell you, these are one of my favorite games because as it plays out, maybe Isaiah Livers plays in that game, maybe he doesn't. Well, it turns out he doesn't play. And, of course, Flash, people do watch the show, and you get the DMs and you get the people tweeting you and saying, you know what, do you still like the game? It's out there, Flash. When you put your money on it and put your stamp on it in the morning, you can't pull it back. We rode with Michigan, and even as I was out walking my dog early second half going, God damn it, Flash. Looks like Rutgers going to pull this one out. I'm going to hear about it. Michigan turns it on, ramps up the defense in a low-scoring affair, and gives Rutgers, the Garden State team, their only loss at home this year. Good for me.
Yeah, very good for you. And the funny thing is, yesterday when we was going through the game, you was like that. No, forget the points. Money line. Yeah. Max, that has got to be one of the most confident plays I've ever heard, Donnie, in any sport. And he comes up trumps.
Oh, absolutely. I think that it was a great spot. The fact was, listen, this Rutgers team was flirting with danger at home, and they finally got stung. And I will point out there was a negative for me on this game. His name is Geo Baker. He's an asshole. He doesn't put ketchup on his hot dog, and he hit a 3-point buzzer beater to beat everybody that was on Michigan first half. So it was a little bit rough, but it was bittersweet seeing Rutgers choke, lose at home, and now they can go to a certain valley that we all know that I can't say the name of on this show.
The seas were rough last night, but I think we've come through it. I mean, there was a little bit of water on board, but we've got it off. We go again today. But let's have a little look at this. Louisville wins. Duke loses. Florida State are hanging on to their coattails. So Duke and Louisville, they swap over. This is going down to the wire, Max.
Yeah, I think that it is going down to the wire. Listen, not a lot of us expected Duke to come out like that last night. I was shocked. I was devastated. I was watching the game. And I was like, wow, this makes me want to go to sleep early because it was just so sad for anybody that had Duke in a Duke money line in a parlay because they just got burnt. I thought that NC State was able to stay in this game, but I had no idea that Markel Johnson was going to summon some freaking demon out of him and pull it out of the sky and really lead his team of upperclassmen up against this young Duke team at home. So, hey, listen, that's Wolfpack basketball for you. You got to fear the pack all the time.
Donnie, just quickly talk about who you think between Louisville, Duke, and obviously Florida State just sitting there, just in behind for the final furlong.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting here because, I mean, my thought process coming into last night was, yeah, Duke's going to win that game and Louisville's going to win their game, so Duke will still be in the driver's seat. That was an alarming loss, which shows a young team on the road still in ACC play in front of 15, 16, 17,000 can come up a little bit short. I'm still going to roll Duke here throughout the rest of the regular season and pick them to win the ACC, but that was a heartless loss last night by Mike Krzyzewski and the boys. Okay,
well, we can't have a show without me mentioning the SEC. And Kentucky sit there 2 games ahead of Auburn, LSU, and now Florida, all at 9 and 4. I've had a look ahead. Kentucky play Auburn once and Florida twice in their last 5 games. It's theirs to lose, but I tell you what, LSU, they must win in now from Max. Max, they must win every game.
Yeah, I think that you want to have that expectation as someone that has an LSU future in your pocket. But the reality is they're in the tournament. It's more about what kind of matchup they're going to get. And there's really no way to prognosticate that appropriately or efficiently in my mind. I think that a lot of people do it, but I think they're talking out of their ass. The real issue here for Kentucky is, does Kentucky care about winning this conference? Do they care about being number 1 seed? Do they care about a conference title? I don't think so. They have bigger aspirations. Really have to look at the schedule. You really have to try and make a determination there. But with a 2-game lead this late in the conference season, I still think Kentucky takes it home.
Okay, well, that's a brave bet when there's only about 5 games to go and they're 2.5 games up. Okay, Donnie, Siena Saints last night, absolutely cruising. We spoke about it yesterday morning. They take their foot off the gas and they only scrape home.
Yeah, I was shocked by that game because, look, even though Siena still hasn't lost at home, and as we wake up this morning, they still haven't lost at home, but that cover is kind of disconcerting here because when you're a team like Siena that protects the basketball, you're at home, you play well at home, and one of the better offensive teams in the Metro Atlantic, and you blow that lead late, which I was really surprised to watch, and then you needed some late shenanigans to actually pull the game out with the victory as well. And I know in one of our topic timelines here, Siena, I still think, is the best overall team in the Metro Atlantic, but Max will tell you, over the past couple of years, you go up to Albany and you play the Metro Atlantic tournament, which when you're the home team, that is a major advantage. You're in your own arena, which is the biggest arena in the Metro Atlantic, so you already have that advantage. Your own crowd is there. You're sleeping in your own beds, but now this tournament's going to take place in Atlantic City, which should open up, which is great. Right down the road for me. I'll certainly be in attendance for a couple of these games. I still think Siena is the best overall team, Flash, but they no longer have that home court advantage in the Metro Atlantic tournament, so it should be a good one there.
Okay, everyone in the chat, been a great week. We're going to go over our 80th capped game today. We normally do 23, 24. Today's an absolute cakewalk. Just the 21 games. Let's kick off. Ohio State getting 2.5 going into Iowa. Max.
Yeah, this is a spot where I'm looking at the availability of CJ Frederick before I make a bet whatsoever in this game. My numbers would lean to Iowa at home, and I think that this line is a little undervalued. I would have had them more at a 5-point favorite at home. I think that Iowa, definitely with Luka Garza, we've seen him expand his offensive arsenal to the 3-point line. We're seeing guys like Joe Toussaint really develop before our very eyes, and I think that on their home court, you can expect Joe Wieskamp and Connor McCaffrey to actually come to play. This is a team that shoots the ball a little better. I think that with Ohio State not having DJ Carton, I think it takes away an element of their offensive attack and their offensive consistency from the perimeter. I think that this is just a bad number for Ohio State, and I look at Iowa, but I got to make sure CJ Frederick's in.
Okay, but you can tweet out if you make that an official play a little bit later, so everyone keep your eyes on Max's Twitter account. Donnie, do you like the home side?
I do like the home side here, and I think it's really the only way to look. When you look on the season, Iowa only has one loss at home and actually doesn't even have a home loss in the Big Ten. So, I mean, that automatically lends me that I want to take a look at Iowa. But just take a look at Ohio State, even though maybe it seems like they've righted the ship a little bit. Just one of those enigmatic teams where I don't know where I'm going to get each and every night. And when we look at concepts and plays that make sense, Iowa is very fluid on offense. They shoot about 34% from three-point range, but that's exactly where you can attack Ohio State. If the three ball goes down, which it usually goes down more at home than it does on the road, I lean towards Iowa here. I don't want any part of Ohio State. I can't figure this team out, Flash.
Yeah, there's no leaning in the chat. Peter Lucas has said 2 units on Iowa. Done it already. Okay, here's our first road favourite, Oregon. -2 going into Arizona State, Donnie.
Oregon coming in, Arizona State coming in, 2 good teams. But how about Arizona State coming in hot in this one? And you saw, a couple days ago, we're talking about bubble teams that need to get in. Who's going to get in from the Pac-12? Well, this is a really big basketball game for Arizona State to try to stamp their claim and strengthen their positioning here heading into March Madness. But look, it's one of these teams that's tough because I bet Oregon in the past. I even bet against Oregon, tried to fade them a little bit in the NCAA tournament. Didn't work out to my advantage. Why? Because Peyton Pritchett makes every single play in the right situation. You need a 3-ball, he's got it. You need to get to the rim, he's got it. You need to run clock all the way down to 1 second on the shot clock and make a Hail Mary shot like he did against Washington a few weeks back. He can do it all. So if you take that and remove it from your mind, Flash, then you'll come over to Arizona State, being at home, big game environment. I think they step up tonight. Not enough to put my money on. We're going to stamp and say, I don't need no points, or I'm just going to take Arizona State. I like Arizona State a little bit here, but just not enough to make it an official play on the show here, Flash.
Max, roadside giving up 2. Do you think it's more of a pick 'em, or are you happy to take the points with the home side?
I'd be looking the other way on Oregon. That's why I'm rocking the Peyton Pritchard Oregon hat. Listen, I think that Oregon has had some troubles on the road, specifically with Oregon State and Stanford recently. We've all known and seen that. I think that they do have what it takes built depth-wise, even with Nafante out. I think that that's not really going to make a difference tonight. I think that they're going to be able to take it to Arizona State. I think that they're going to be able to really stifle them in transition. I don't think that Arizona State not having Tyshawn Cherry is going to be noticeable. I think we're going to notice the difference in the front court without him over there for Arizona State. And I think that when you look at Oregon, what are they going to do? They're going to really guard you. They're going to be able to make a shot when you need a shot because they got the best point guard in the nation. The only way for me to look at this game is Oregon. I think that we're giving them a little less credit than they deserve. And I think that my fellow Canadian Addison Patterson comes out tonight and has a special game. So let's go Oregon.
Okay, in the chat, Tackman saying Oregon and the under, so you can have 2 plays in one game there. Massive, Max, I'm going to stay with you here because this is a massive, and the next 2 games are just unbelievable points difference. Santa Clara getting 14.5 against BYU. Is that justified?
I think that it isn't justified. I think that when you look at Santa Clara, they can score the ball as well. They can go bucket for bucket with BYU, and they can guard on the perimeter with Taj Edey and Trey Wirtz. I think that the key matchup is going to be Joseph Vrancic versus Yoeli Childs. Yoeli Childs is back. The pinky is good. We're seeing him and TJ Haws really dominate the ball, dominate the offense. So it's going to be up to Santa Clara's complimentary defenders and guys coming off the pine to really do a good job of shutting down Connor Toulson and Alex Barcello. If you can stop those guys, I think that you can keep this game ugly. You can keep this game low scoring. And listen, when you're taking a double-digit dog on the road in conference versus a team that offensively they can match up with, it's just a matter of defensively, you always have the opportunity to get a backdoor cover. So at this spot, I look at Santa Clara, and I look at BYU probably the first half. Have to go through my numbers again, but nothing official.
Okay. Johnny, 14.5 points on the road. It seems a hell of a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit much. I mean, BYU is going to be at home in this game, so you can say, hey, they're playing at elevation. And you did see BYU play San Diego, a very game San Diego team, which almost beat BYU down the wire. But I think Max is right. When you're coming at, you have a great, if you haven't watched BYU, since maybe the Jimmer Fredette days, this team is so much fun to watch on offense. And you would never believe when you're taking a look at a guy like TJ Halls on offense, who looks like he's 55 years old, but has that old school game, can do whatever he wants with the basketball. And then you have Yoli Childs down low. It's a perfect 1-2 combination. I think you're going to get tempo tonight. So instead of looking at a side, which I think the line is about right, but when you're looking on deck, let's not forget, Flash, they got Gonzaga on deck. So maybe it's one of those, look, we know what's coming up on the horizon here. Let's get this win. Let's not blow this game. Let's strengthen our hold on March Madness and then get after Gonzaga. I do like the fact that BYU is home in this game. I think they'll be able to score. So I'm going to look in that 150 range as a total over, because BYU, no matter what happens, Flash is going to be fluid on offense. And I think Santa Clara can score with them.
Okay, I mean, 150 seems a bit generous, so I mean, we're going to go over the 150. Now, here's a game I won't be watching. Happy to stick my hands in the air. San Francisco versus the Zags. 17.5 points for the road dog, Donnie. I just don't know where to look on this, because the Zags are absolutely immense.
Yeah, and look, Gonzaga's been there, done that before. So I think if there's more of a look ahead, it's nice that we had these games back-to-back to talk about, because we just said, hey, BYU's got Gonzaga on deck. Well, Gonzaga probably doesn't feel the same about having BYU on deck, because their aspirations are much bigger, Final Four, maybe get a national championship. Gonzaga is a machine, and sometimes it doesn't matter what you put in front of a machine. If it's a bad team, a middling team, an upper-level team, you know what you get out of Gonzaga, and that's elite offensive play, Flash, and also elite defensive play. So over a full 40 minutes, you're going to get attacked on both sides of the basketball court with absolute depth. It's hard to say, hey, game's on deck, let me just take San Francisco, because San Francisco is a decent ball club. It's hard to go against Gonzaga. It's even harder to go against them in the kennel. It's a little bit too high out of my, as I like BYU previous with the points here, scoring over the game. I don't really like this game too. It's just too much for me to get ready, but I'm not going against Gonzaga.
No, I don't blame you. But Max, San Francisco in the futures was right up there in the top 5 or 6 sides. Now they're getting 17.5 points on the road against Gonzaga.
Yeah, with San Francisco, we know that they do have the ability to run and gun with Gonzaga. We saw earlier a couple weeks ago when they played only a 4-point game, Gonzaga was lucky to get out of San Francisco with the win. I think that tonight, knowing what they've already had to go up against, I think Gonzaga comes a little more prepared. I think they practice a little better. I think Mark Few said that in one of his pregame interviews. I think that it really depends on what you have available for Gonzaga as far as the side. If you have Killen Tilly, then I think that I'm more confident laying the points. I think without him, it puts a lot more on Petrusev. And with Admon Gilder coming off the bench, he's been a little inconsistent as that 6-man role. I think that it's important to really get a complete offensive attack if you don't have Tilly in the lineup. I think that where the value probably sits a little more is where the first half total is. If you can get 73 or 73.5, by the numbers and by the record so far already this year, this has been quite a profitable proposition. So I'd be recommending looking at a first half over with Gonzaga and San Francisco, knowing that Minland, Bouye can all get to the bucket, and then Jordan Ratno is going to be the receiver of kick-out passes on the 3-point line. So, yeah, first half over.
And is the number really 73?
Pardon?
The number is 73, is it?
Yeah, 73.
Okay, first half over 73 with the Zags and San Francisco. I'm going to stay with you, Max. There's a right dodgy old game in Temple. UConn, +1, pick 'em in places. Against Temple, you know all about Temple. Go on, Max.
Yeah, so we know which way I'm going. I'm going with UConn, even though our fabulous freshman Akok Cook is now out for the year with an Achilles injury. I think that Isaiah Whaley really came in. He was able to rebound. He was able to protect the rim. He was able to get to the free throw line. He was able to score a couple points. I think that's exactly the type of performance that we need tonight to go along with Josh Carlton and his continued development as a front court player. But The X factor is James Bouknight. James Bouknight, James Bouknight, James Bouknight. If that young buck comes in and does what he has to do, which is play defense, use his length and guard on the perimeter, be able to get out in transition, score the basketball, and get to the free throw line, well, Donnie, I'm sorry, but UConn's winning tonight, bro.
They say love is blind, Donnie. They say love is blind. I was never expecting him to go with Temple, did you?
Yeah, I actually thought he was going to strap on the, cherry in the white hat and, fight, and have some fun, tears for Temple and all that good stuff here. You got a national game that we can watch tonight at 7 p.m. and cheer it on. If we take a look at this game, you know what? Looking at both of these sides, I think Temple isn't the better team here, but Temple is at home, so it's going to give them a decent shot. When you saw what really gets after Temple, and that's Villanova, when you step up in class and you say, you know what, we're going to run true offensive sets, and we are going to crush you from the three-point line because you'll let us shoot it. That's what Villanova did in the second half. That's not really the case with what UConn does, but I think man for man, UConn is the more talented team, but I actually am starting to lean a little bit more here on the over. I think both of these teams can play into at least the high 60s to give you a look at that game stacked in the mid 130s. But the one thing that's interesting here, because if you watch the Memphis game and looking at it on Sunday, Cook goes down early in that game, but he's not really an offensive mastermind. He's a great defender, a great guy that can block shot and rebound. He's not going to be in this ball game, so I think that adds to a little bit more tempo and Temple able to score a little bit easier since he's not going to be on the court, as opposed to taking a side, which, hey, basic coin flip opens up. Wait, -1 in that favor of UConn, now flips to Temple a little bit. I can't hate Max for going for UConn because I do think they are a better team. Temple does tend to play better at home, but I'm thinking the pace might be here. I think we get some points in this game. Both teams like to foul. Both teams like to get to the free throw line. I think they could both play in the high 60s and give you an honest effort last year at trying to take down that total.
Well, Jansen in the chat says Max would go for UConn if they were playing against the Bucks. I don't make him wrong. I'm just worried about your love for UConn, Maxie baby, but we will be cheering you on. Now, another road dog. There's plenty of them about. +10 South Florida versus Wichita State. Donnie, +10, +14, +17. I mean, I don't see how they can cover all these.
Yeah, it's tough to pull off, especially when you're looking at a game, Flash, where you're expecting the offense to be, really slow, and you're expecting some good defensive outputs. Both of these teams do play some good offense, and South Florida certainly not known, actually dead last in conference in efficiency on offense, now going into a tough environment. Look, Wichita State sells out at home. That crowd's going to be fired, and got to tell you, Max, is the key that Isaiah Pooh Bear Chandler now back flipped the switch for Wichita State as they look to make a run into March Madness? They're hot right now. It's hard to go against. But again, you're talking about, Flash, a 10-point game in an environment where maybe the offense is slowed down a little bit. I think Wichita State's defense can get after South Florida. This is one of those games where, as opposed to looking, Flash, and maybe covering double digits, meaning winning by 12, 13, 14 points, maybe a first half where they jump on them and then just cruise to a victory. So if you can get somewhere in that 5.5-point range, I think Wichita State should be able to be up close to double digits in the first half. That's the way I would lean in this game, as opposed to taking them full game in the -10.
Max, what you got your bead little eye on in this game?
Yeah, I'm looking at a first half under or a team total under on South Florida. I think that they're going to be the component that leads to this game staying under the 125. I think that we're going to get more honest scoring in the first half than full game, though. That's where I see the best edge. I'm just looking at a couple numbers right here. What we've seen from South Florida is that they can get to the free throw line, but they're only getting to the free throw line in the second half. They're not getting to the free throw line early on, which does help a first half under. I think also with South Florida, they know that if Wichita State starts bombing away from three and they aren't closing out and stopping that, this game's going to be over real quick, and Donnie's going to be freaking smoking a cigar out back. I think that in the end, my numbers are always going to favor this total more. I think that we're going to make an official play under 58, -110 in the first half in this Wichita-South Florida game. I think Wichita State may get out to a big lead. I think that South Florida is going to have a major problem scoring the basketball in this hostile environment.
Okay, under 58 first half. We like that. We like that. Let's go for Michigan State now. Giving up 12, going into Nebraska, Max. Tough place to go, but Michigan State, they need to win this game.
Yeah, they definitely need to win this game, but what's going on with Xavier Tillman? Is he going to play? He's questionable with some sort of personal issue today. Looking for some more information on that before I make a bet. And obviously, I got to refer to the Taint Master, the Taint Play of the Day aficionado, Mr. Matt Randall, because he does know those Michigan State Spartans even better than I do. But from my analysis and from my numbers, I'm looking at Nebraska in this spot as a double-digit home dog. What have we seen from Michigan State Michigan State is not trustworthy as a double-digit favorite, especially on the road. I'm not looking at Nebraska as one of these home teams in the Big Ten. I'm looking at Michigan State and what we can expect from them offensively. Unless they have a shutdown defensive game where Nebraska struggles to get to 55, I think Nebraska's going to be able to score enough to stay in this. It's a two-headed offensive monster with Michigan State. We've seen their games consistently go under. We're seeing a number that's rising right now. I'm looking at Nebraska. I'm looking at the under. I don't believe that Michigan State is worthy of this number. By my power rating, they should have only been a 6.5 to 8.5 point favorite. So.
Wow.
Do with that with what you will.
So you're getting 4 to 5 points extra value, Donnie. And you said you want to go under. What's the under total, Max?
I'm seeing 153. I'm not sure if that's still available. I have to look at my SBR odds page, which everybody in the chat should have one open, because that is the best odds page in the game.
Okay, and while you're looking at that, if we've got 171 in the chat, but only 29 thumbs up. Press the thumbs up. Press the subscribe, and we'll let you know and notify you when any video content is about to start. So thumbs up, please, gentlemen. We've got 29, and we had one thumb down before we even started. Max, you're well known for them thumbs down, but it weren't you. Johnny, Michigan State, do they cover the 12? Max thinks Nebraska of value, getting the 12.
Look, I'm going to draw on my 90s inspiration of R&B, where I grew up in northern New Jersey going to school. And there's a squad called, or I should say a rap group called the Wu-Tang Clan, and a song called It's Yours that said, we're going to put your lights out and leave your brain inside a fog. And if Michigan State is right tonight and healthy and playing, there's no limit to the amount that they can score. So forget about looking at the total over in the game. Forget about the side. I'm focused on a Michigan State team total over. If we take a look at the last couple home games in Big Ten play where Nebraska plays with pace on their own home court, Indiana, they gave up 82 points. If we take a look at Michigan came to town and scored 79. We're looking at Penn State came to town, scored 76. We're looking at the last game, flash. Wisconsin got to 81. If we put that into real life terms, we convert like the US dollar to euros, 81 for Wisconsin is the equivalent of 151 for another college basketball team. Michigan State gets into the 80s and covers their team total. Love that. Put that one on the board. You know what? Put it official before I even see who's right for Michigan State tonight, Flash.
So team total Michigan at what, 81?
I'm going to get it right. I'm going to get the official one off.
Yeah, get the official, because obviously it's going to be official, and I'm going to put the star. The thing I worry about with Michigan State tonight is that they're so desperate for a W. They've got to protect any lead. They've got to protect the ball. So I think that it may well go under, and it's all about the W and not putting on a show. Now we've got another 4 road favourites. We're going to start off with Hofstra. -4 going into Drexel, and it's coming to you, Donnie.
Yeah, another one of these Philly basketball, we call it the Big Five. Actually, Drexel's included there, so we make it the Big Six. Sometimes, Flash, you don't just go into the DAC and pick up victories in front of 25 fans, 3 cheerleaders, and 2 guys in the band, 1 with a drum and 1 with a flute. But that's not going to be the case tonight. Hofstra's clearly the better basketball team. Zach Spiker and the boys from Drexel really struggling here over the past 7 or 8 games. Hofstra's going to come in, and what do you like if you're going on the road and you got to pull out a victory? Well, if I can give you Bowie and Pemberton going toe-to-toe with Drexel tonight, there's no other way I can look. Hey, you want to be cute and say, hey, Drexel can come up and play well at home. Last home win they had versus JMU, which I did see that basketball game. That's more of a product of JMU not being all that good and Drexel winning. Hofstra's clearly the talent here. I lean on Hofstra in this basketball game here, Flash.
Okay, Hofstra, happy to give up the 4, Max. We've got 15 games. Let's fly through them.
Yeah, definitely looking at Hofstra here. Would have had them as a 7-point favorite, so I'll make Hofstra -4 in official play. I'll also take them first half -2 or -2.5, depending on what best number you can get. And I'll just say this. With Hofstra, they're definitely going to have to lock down the three-point line, which they've been able to do consistently in conference. This is a team that I think that they're going to be very stout on defense. They're not going to allow a lot of transition buckets. And I think that Cameron Winter is not going to find his way into the lane like he has over the last couple games. The one area of concern I have is how do you contain James Butler? I think that with a combination of some good double teams and maybe even some matchup zone, Hofstra will be able to diffuse any kind of threat that he can be. But other than that, I think Hofstra rolls tonight. I would have them comfortably winning this game.
Okay, Hofstra -4. Max has got them at 7, so you're getting a 3-point advantage. Jump on that in first half. -2.5 Hofstra. Northeastern -1 and a pick 'em in places going into Delaware, Max.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot for Delaware because Delaware is going to be going up against a team that can score the basketball with them but can really shut them down defensively. I think coming into this game also there is revenge for Northeastern, and when you're getting some balance from Bolden Brace and Maxime Bourgeois and Jordan Rowland, it gives me a lot more confidence. The issue is, what are you going to get from the front court of Justin Mutz and Dylan Painter for Delaware? And that could be the difference of who wins this game. I think that both backcourts are very offensive efficient. They can make free throws and have good length, so they cancel each other out. The issue is what the front court play is going to be, and that's where Delaware has the advantage, and Delaware has to take advantage. If Dylan Painter can't get his shot going tonight and can't use that 6'10" size to Delaware's advantage, Northeastern's winning here. Too close to call. Not making the play either way.
Okay, love that. Donnie, making a play, sitting on the fence.
Look, I think Delaware's a pretty good basketball club. They finally got knocked off after having a nice winning streak. But Max is right there when you talk about Northeastern. You do have a little bit of a revenge factor in. And sometimes in these games that are really a coin flip, you like to lean on because you know it travels. Sometimes your three-pointer doesn't travel. Sometimes you get affected by the crowd noise. But defense always travels. And I think it's pretty clear the number one defensive team in the CAA is Northeastern. I think they're going to be able to get the job done on the road against Delaware in a close, hard-fought battle. That's the way I go in this basketball game. Not enough, Flash, as we say, to put my money on it. I'm going to lean towards the away team here, coming in and getting revenge and winning this ball game.
Yeah, distinctive lack of official plays from you, Donnie. You're sitting on that money. You can't take it with you. Get it spent, my lad. Northern Iowa -3. Indiana State, Donnie.
Spend it right here, Flash. When we take a look, one of my favorite teams here in the MVC is Northern Iowa. Finally got their win streak snapped versus Loyola Chicago. No harm, no foul. Both of those games versus Loyola Chicago this year, Flash, did go into overtime. They had a massive comeback, hit a 3 at the buzzer, but fell short in overtime to a very game team. But when we take a look at the game tonight coming in versus Indiana State, I still think the line is a little bit short. I don't think there's going to be a hangover in this game when you take a look at Northern Iowa. I think they're going to come to play number one overall offense in the MVC. They also play some decent defense. The one thing that's really interesting, when you take a look at an ultra-efficient offense, Northern Iowa does still have a tendency to turn the basketball over. But the one key ingredient, we just got some updates here on Twitter. A.J. Green looks like he's good to go tonight. Nose injury, Flash, so maybe a little bit of plastic surgery between the games, having to get set up. But also, if you want to keep in mind, the one point that I bring up is that, well, it's not an elbow, it's not a hand, it's not a finger. It shouldn't be able to affect the jump shot. Sometimes when these guys have facial injuries, especially shooters or high-volume guys, if you put that mask on them during the game, it might take a few games for them to get loose and get back in the rhythm. You ask any one of those players who's ever worn, if you had a fractured cheekbone, orbital eye socket, or even a nose, it takes a little bit of a while to get used to it. But Northern Iowa's the better basketball team. They win this game. Put it on the board, Flash. Give me Northern Iowa on the road with this victory.
It's on the board, and I could see there was jealousy in your eyes, Max, when he was talking about a nose job.
Yeah, that's true. I am jealous, but that's another subject for another video. We can do a full 30-minute one on that. But going back to this Northern Iowa-Indiana State game, yeah, I agree with Donnie here also. I think that when you look at Northern Iowa, having A.J. Green in the lineup makes a lot of the difference. If A.J. Green is in the lineup, my numbers go Indiana State's way. Yeah. With him in the lineup, they have him favored as a 5-point favorite. What do we like about Northern Iowa and Indiana State? They both take good care of the basketball. They have good ball movement from side to side. This is a game where I would be looking towards the over. I think that Northern Iowa definitely has to come out strong, come out fast, not give Indiana State any hope that they can get revenge from the early on win in the season. And I think that when you look at Isaiah Brown for Northern Iowa, I think he's a difference maker tonight. I think that he has a matchup advantage against Jordan Barnes. Jordan Barnes has a thumb injury, so it is affecting his shooting. And Tyreek Key has been inconsistent as of late. So I look at Northern Iowa also tonight, and I look at the over.
Okay, we like that a lot, Max. I'm going to stay with you. We've got another road favourite. This time giving up 6, Wright State, going into Youngstown State.
Yeah, when you look at this Wright State team, this is a very efficient team at home. Ludin Love has been on a tear right now. He's just doing things that no other big man in the Horizon League, from my estimations, can do. Naz Bohannon is going to have his hands very full tonight trying to contain him, and I think that that's going to leave Jalen Hall and Billy Wampler open up on the perimeter to take what they can take. Listen, this Youngstown State team has a good floor general in Darius Quisenberry, so he's going to have a size and matchup advantage over Cole Gentry. But if Cole Gentry, with his quickness, can take you to the rim and you foul him, well, he's a 90% free throw shooter, so that's not going to work out for Youngstown. Every way I look at it and I try and slice it down and break it down, I see Wright State having a easier time with Youngstown State than they did the first time. And I think that at this shorter number at 6, it's worth making an official play on.
Okay, so you're happy to give up the 6 on the road. Donnie, is 6 a little bit too much for you, or are you happy to go with Max?
No, I think I'm happy to go with Max. I'm really impressed with Wright State. And what's not to like about coming off a fresh effort, Flash, in college basketball, dropping 106 points in their last game, ultra efficient on offense, play very well on defense. One of those double-headed monsters where, hey, if you're a little bit off on offense, Flash, you can always lean on your defense on the road, but also Max brings up good points. Quisenberry is a really good player. I actually think we get some points in this game. Even though I do like Wright State's defense, Youngstown State is a pretty effective offense, and you have a guy that can get to the rim in Quisenberry. That certainly should be able to make a difference. But if the 3 balls are going down, 43%. Flash, 43% from three-point range in conference play for Wright State. They're too much to overcome. And look, if they're going to be up at the half, they're going to be covering. So again, it's one of those things where if you like Youngstown State, you best believe Youngstown State probably has to have the lead at the half in order to win this basketball game. Full game, don't recommend it because I think the better team overall on offense and defense will prevail in this one. I like Wright State. I think Max is on the point here.
Yeah, and I thought you might double up there and go with Wright State first half, maybe giving up 3.5. I thought that they would jump all over. 43% from the 3-point. Come on then, we'll have some of that. Let's stay with you, Donnie. Tennessee, plus 1.5 against Eastern Kentucky. But when you get 1.5, is it not just the same as a pick'em?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we always like to say that, right? Like, it's 1.5 to win by 2. And then at the end of the basketball game, somebody needs a 3-point shot and it goes down. It's a 1-point game. We see that all the time. So that 1.5, which looks like, hey, just win the basketball game, take the points or don't take the points, sometimes comes out to bite you in these environments. But Tennessee State and Eastern Kentucky, we should get a little bit of a tempo. Eastern Kentucky does run fast. If we're looking at overall game type environment and what you like, Eastern Kentucky goes fast because they're going to put pressure on you on defense, and that's really a problem for Tennessee State. When you're looking in conference, keep in mind there's 12 teams in this conference. They are dead last at turning the basketball over. And then if you flip it over to the defensive side, not only do they turn it over on offense, Tennessee State, Flash, they also don't turn you over on defense. EKU turns you over on defense, protects the ball on offense. I like Eastern Kentucky in this basketball game, Flash.
Yeah, I thought that was the way to go, to be fair. Max, confirm my dodgy thoughts. Eastern Kentucky at home, giving up 1.5, looks a steal.
Yeah, Eastern Kentucky is as tasty as the microwave bacon that I enjoy on the regular. I think that with Jamero Brown and Trey King, we're seeing 2 guys that are really stepping it up and taking reins of the offensive attack. That was quite evident last game. I think that when you look at this Eastern Kentucky team, they're going to pressure you with that 1-3-1 press. They're going to be able to get to the free throw line. They're a team that hits over 75% of their free throws as a team. You know how I feel about that. If you hit over 70, you have my attention. Over 75, you have my respect and you have my money. Eastern Kentucky takes care of a Tennessee State team that just is not as efficient on the road than they are at home. I think that Michael Littlejohn and Wesley Harris are going to have trouble with the double teams that they're going to see and the trapping that they're going to get. Eastern Kentucky's going to win this game. I'll take it. I'll make it official. Let's go.
And would you? I mean, you're going to be giving up what? What would you be giving up if you just went with them at half time?
Probably a point.
That's what I mean. So, I mean, you just look at them to go wire to wire as well?
I think that's a spot where, yeah, the numbers, let me just pull up my number real quick. No, I did not like the first half as much as full game.
Right, okay, thanks for clarifying that, because some people would have thought, well, if you like some full game and are only giving up 1.5, we'll go first half as well. But no first half, just full game for the class to show. Okay, Murray State, another road favourite, giving up 4 going into Eastern Illinois. Max?
Yeah, the issue for me, and I want to get on Eastern Illinois here. I want to get on this home dog. I think that they can win this game. This is an upperclassman Eastern Illinois team. Josiah Wallace is leading this team. He's been efficient offensively over the last couple of games, which is good because he's been inconsistent in the non-conference season. But regardless, this is a team that has gotten up to play Murray State the first time, only losing by 3 in Murray State's gym. The issue for me is Murray State's perimeter defense, the way that they guard the three-point line, the way that they force you out to like that 15 to 18-foot range where you're off balance and you're taking a shot that you don't necessarily want to take. That's the type of defense that they have. And we've seen Murray State just be completely dominant in the second half. So no official play for me, but this is how I'm going to play it on my accounts. I'm going to take Eastern Illinois first half. I'm going to take Murray State second half, and that's how I'm going to play it. Simple as that.
Yeah, good luck. Let's hope they meet in the middle. Donnie, if he's undecided, $64 million question, it's not. You're not going with either one of these, are you?
No, look, I got to, truth be told, with EIU, one of my favorite teams to bet in the OVC, and they've taken more money from me than my wife does on regular occasions here, Flash. I can't seem to get this team right. They line this team with a team total of 78. They get 66. They line this team with a team total of 71. They get 91. I can't figure them out. But when I look at this basketball game, Murray State heading in, they have 2 losses in conference play, both on the road. No shame, and Max will tell you, in losing to Belmont and Austin Peay. But when we're taking a look at overall matchups in this game, Eastern Illinois, they're not even coming in hot. What, losers of 5 of 6 games? If we look at Murray State on offense, ultra efficient. When we take a look at them shooting the 3-point shot, I'm a fiend for the 3-pointer. And if you're going to give me a team that shoots 41% from 3-point range in conference play, I'm always going to lean on them. So having said that, I'm going to go against Eastern Illinois in this basketball game. Murray State wins full game, and don't be surprised if EIU scores 88 points and routs Murray State. I'm still going with Murray State, damn it.
And you're happy to give up the 4. Okay, here's a pick'em. Omaha +1, so it's virtually a pick'em. Purdue, Fort Wayne. Donnie.
I'm going to leave this one up to Max. This is a nice little added specific game because when we pick games the night before and we load them up, I say, Max, tack on the games that you want to talk about. This is one of them. Max, take the stage here for me.
Donnie, we're going to go to the Summit League. It's a great league.
What did you start off with, though, Max? Max, what was the first half an hour of the conversation?
You know what? My nose was whistling a little more today. So
I said that, Donnie. I said that when he gets excited about an official play, it's like woo woo, and you know what's coming down the track. Everyone in the chat's like that. Come on, we heard the whistle. We know we've got one. Cash that whistler.
Yeah, so listen, this is a revenge game for IPFW, but I don't think that they're going to be able to win this game outright. Listen, Jared Godfrey and Matt Holber are nice offensive pieces to have to run your offense, but this team relies on being able to shut you down offensively. I think Omaha definitely has not been the team that I expected them to be, but when you look at the matchup advantages from KJ Robinson and JT Gibson, I think it's really hard to ignore. Matt Pyle in the front court, he's a guy that's going to get you boards. He's going to get himself points. He's going to get himself high percentage looks at the bucket. I think that this is a team that can stand a foul trouble. I think this is a team that can be more efficient than IPFW. And just from watching IPFW, they just don't impress me. You know, they don't do a good job on the offensive glass. They're not really doing a good job of limiting turnovers and forcing turnovers. I think that this is a team that plays at a slow enough pace that you shouldn't have a lot of projected passing. When I watch IPFW, I see them make very silly mistakes. And in a situation like this versus an Omaha team that needs a win, I think this is a spot where Omaha comes in and they win convincingly. So I took Omaha, and I want to make it official for the show.
No doubt you're going to make it official. It was official before you opened your mouth because your nostrils told us. Okay, I'm going to stay with you, Donnie. Elon getting free going into James Madison.
Yeah, two teams that don't really put their defensive imprint out there and say, hey, let's go out in this game, Flash, and let's win with some defense. It's more of an offensive, especially for James Madison. They don't do all that much well, but you know what they do well? They play with a little bit of tempo, and they can get to the free throw line. When we take a look at Elon in conference, the worst team efficiency rating in conference on defense, and also they foul you more than any other team, and that is absolute great news for Matt Lewis getting to the bucket for JMU. I think we get some points in this basketball. I like, if we just keep it short here, I know we're short on time, Elon is going to get this victory here, but I think we get points. So I like Elon and the total going over here, Flash.
Okay, if you, Donnie, you can just tell me what that total is. Max, are you happy to take the points on the visitors?
Oh, yeah, I added this game because I'm going on Elon, Marcus Sheffield, Hunter McIntosh, Hunter Woods. We're going to the window. We're cashing a ticket. We're going to go support local pipe fitters. Give me Elon all day, every day.
Love that. You're excited already. You're cashing the plays and you're booking in for your massage and your pipe fitting. Max, I'm going to come to you, Hartford. Again, it's only +3 going into New Hampshire.
Yeah, this is a spot where I think that Hartford is coming off a loss that I thought was unexpected. I think that they do come out here and do a little seesawing here. With New Hampshire, definitely have some offensive pieces that I can respect in Guatemala and Sutherland. But when I look at Hartford, I look at Tracy Carter as an experienced graduate point guard. I look at Malik Ellison as the only guy who can consistently get double-doubles in this conference. He's a beast down low. He's able to have that mid-range perimeter shot. Miroslav Staffel. This is a Hartford team that I think has a lot of potential when they're on the road also. I think that home and road splits don't really play too much into my handicap here. I have this game as a 1-point favorite for Hartford at +3. Sign me the hell up.
Okay, another call. We're loving this. You're really starting to get ahead of steam now. Donnie?
I'm with Max on this one. Absolutely. I mean, Hartford, the second overall best defense efficiency rating in conference play. And the one thing that you're all going to see from, obviously, going up against New Hampshire is they want to shoot the three-point shot. Terrible at under 30%. They shoot at volume, which means 40% of their shots come from three-point range. But when you take a look at Hartford's defense, number one, they don't foul, and they defend the three-point shot extremely well. Hartford's the only way, Flash, that I can look in this basketball game.
Okay, we've got 5 games to go, and they're all lower majors, which you boys absolutely feast on. Gardner-Webb giving up 3, going into Hampton, Donnie.
Hampton, the only way we can ever look at them, last 4 out of 5 games on the road. And yes, you would guess it, they lost all 4 of their games on the road and won their only game at home by putting up 80 points. When we look at Hampton at home this year, Flash, 92 points at home versus Charleston Southern, 83 points at home versus Longwood, 83 points versus Campbell at home, 87 points versus Presbyterian at home, 80 points versus UNC Asheville at home. So when we're taking a look at Gardner-Webb coming to town, I think Hampton, again, is going to get into the 80-point range and cash a team total. Hampton, one of those teams I love to watch, but they are painful to watch on the road. For some reason at home, they can fill the bucket up. They're not reliant, one of the least reliant teams on shooting the three-point shot in the country outside of like Cleveland State or somebody. That's going to pay dividends tonight. I think they get the win at home here. Not going to put money on that one. I think they do get the win at home here because they play much better. But I like their team total over, and I'm going to pick that up and get that in just one moment for us.
Cheers, Donnie. Max, Eli, he put a good case forward for Hampton there. Hampton getting 3 or Hampton on the money line as a big bonus.
I'm going neither. First off, I do agree with Donnie on the total. I like 151.5. Jump on it now if you're going to get on it. Don't let it go up any further. I do like Hampton's team total. I do think that they go bucket for bucket with Gardner-Webb, but the reality is, in my opinion, Gardner-Webb is the better quality team. Gardner-Webb is hot as fire right now, coming off a Winthrop game that they beat them by 4 at home. I think that when you look at Gardner-Webb, even though Jose Perez is not going to be in the lineup tonight, I think that they're fine. With Nate Johnson and guys like Jaheim Cornwall and Eric Jamison Jr., these guys can do the work, you know. These guys stay on the court. They do a good job of defending without fouling. I think Gardner-Webb is a team with a winning environment in them. I think that they have that, I don't know, I think that from a standing perspective, they have an advantage. I think that from a momentum standpoint, they have an advantage. I don't see why Gardner-Webb doesn't win this game by 7 or 8 points. So my numbers heavily like Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb -3 is an official play. No
Okay,
doubt.
I thought you talked yourself into that one. And obviously, Johnny, over 74.5, you're happy with that? You just reeled off all the 80-plus points from home games. So we got Hampton over 74.5. And we got an official play from Max at Gardner-Webb -3. Presbyterian go to High Point, and they get a point, Max.
Yeah, this is a spot where I'm looking at Presbyterian as my play. I think that when I look at High Point, yeah, definitely they've done some good work. They've been able to score the basketball a little more efficiently as the conference season has gone on. But in the end, I think Presbyterian is going to win this game with defense. Presbyterian does a great job of containing you inside. They really push you out and make you take off balance and uncomfortable shots, and they make you work the shot clock. I think that Presbyterian definitely is going to have to utilize their advantage down low. I think that they get to the free throw line. I think that they score the basketball more. And I think that literally this is a game where High Point is expected to play a little more competitively and just isn't able to do so. So Presbyterian official play.
Donnie, you like the visitors?
I do. I think Max is on the Blue Host here. I think are the right call here because High Point, one of those slower teams. So obviously that doesn't give you the chance to extend their lead, but they don't do very much well. They don't shoot the 3-point well. They don't score from inside the arc all that well. They're not an elite free throw shooting team. Both of these teams will get to the line, but Presbyterian, how about this? #1 in conference getting to the line, 35% from 3-point range, 56% from inside the arc, and 73 to 74% in conference play from the free throw line. And also, let's keep in mind, High Point doesn't defend the 3-point shot. Last in conference at allowing almost 40% from 3. If Presbyterian brings a half of an offense, they should be able to come in and steal this victory here.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Donnie, because we've got North Florida getting 8.5 going into Liberty. Liberty need this to pull level with North Florida and the A-Sun.
This is a good one. And, you know, a lot of people say North Florida Liberty, they're two basketball. Yes, these are two really good basketball schools. North Florida has a couple snipers. Then you have the old stalwarts on Liberty that you can lean on, like Scotty James, Caleb Holmesley, Elijah Cuffey, a really good basketball. I just think it's a little bit too many points. Look, I know Liberty. To me, Liberty's the better basketball team here. Liberty is home. They should win this game. But there's a couple things that North Florida can do. They really chase you off of the 3-point line. But when you look at Liberty, that's not really their go-to. North Florida can get hot. They have guys that are flamethrowers from 3-point range. I think this will be a really close game. I'm leaning towards North Florida. It's going to be a good game to watch because we talked a couple weeks ago back on topics like who's going to win the A-Sun. This is one of those really good games that's finally here. An elite offense versus an elite defense. Should be fun to watch. I'll lean on the points in this game here, Flash.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Max, just try and explain this to me. North Florida 11-2 in conference. Liberty 10-2. They sit at the top. It's between them two. And you've got nothing to split them in conference, but you've got 8.5 points for the road team.
Yeah, I think that with Liberty, you know that going into this game, there is a revenge factor that you can play into your handicap if you choose. I think with Liberty, they've been very inconsistent from shooting the basketball. They are coming off a couple games where they have been able to get off, but this is a team that is not the same offensively efficient team that they were last year. When you look at North Florida, what have they done? They've filled your coffers and probably paid for a new Winnebago. That's what they do on the spread for you when you bet on them. I think that this is an awkward spot. You'll look at their numbers. You'll see that this is not a routine spot for them. But this is a team that we remember in the non-conference were able to cover against Florida. So this is going to be a spot where North Florida probably wins the game outright. I think that Liberty wants this game. I think that Liberty needs this game. But in the end, when you got efficient players like Garrett Sams and Ivan Gandia-Rosa to go along with front court players that can nullify the contributions of Holmesley and Scotty James. North Florida is coming, and if they're 3-point shot, they make 10 of those tonight. Liberty's going to have a hard time keeping up. So North Florida first half and full game on the spread, and on my personal accounts, I'll be hitting North Florida for a small piece of action.
North Florida on the money line as well. What sort of price is that going to be, Max?
It's going to probably be in the round 300 to 360 range.
Wow. Donnie, have I been to you for this game? Because him talking about money line with a dog, first half with a dog, full game with a dog, I haven't got a clue what's going on.
And then it's interesting that you bring that up, because when you take a look, usually you would say, like, well, if North Florida's not covering at the half, they're not going to be covering full game. That's really not the case in this one, because Max brings up when you had elite scoring on offense, and let's just say they have a bad first half where Liberty jumps out to a 15-point lead, that can be erased. Even though how good Liberty is on defense and how good a basketball team they are, and they're at home, North Florida can erase that at any time. You can see them getting hot 2 to 3 3-pointers in a minute and a half stretch, and they're right back in the basketball game. I don't know if they can go in and win this outright, but I'm pretty confident that they can stay inside the number. So,
well, it's a massive number, 8.5, and they can put a 2-game gap between them. Now we're going to go to the American East. Vermont, 11-1, got it wrapped up. They're going to give up 6.5, going into Stony Brook. Donnie.
Yeah, seeing 6.5 and 7s across my number. I think Vermont obviously is the best team in this conference, but I think Stony Brook's going to really give them hell here at home. Look, Vermont, number 1 on offensive efficiency in conference, number 1 on defensive efficiency. That's really good. But Stony Brook, third in conference in efficiency on offense, third in conference in efficiency on defense. They're at home in this game. I think they hang around and keep it tough. Now, this is one that we like to look at and say, you know what? Stony Brook, if they come out and play well, they should be leading at the half or at least right in the ball game. I would rather have Stony Brook first half than full game in this and take maybe the +4 on the first half. That's the way I look. I think Stony Brook comes out, keeps it close, but I think Vermont, just too much talent going overall on both offense and defense. I like Stony Brook first half here, Flash.
Yeah, Max, I'm wondering if the visitors have got, obviously, the American East, it just completely sewn up at 11-1. This will make 12-1. I'm wondering if they're just like, okay, we'll just stay healthy. 6.5 looks a lot.
I think that when you look at this Vermont team, Flash, you have to take note of how this team guards. I think that you have to also look at the fact that that one loss, guess who it was against? It's against Stony Brook. There's definitely revenge in the air tonight in Catamount country. They're drinking maple syrup all day today getting ready for that game. I'm telling you right now. Vermont may not turn it on first half. Donnie definitely has the right notion there. But I'm looking at Vermont taking care of this Stony Brook team. I will point out, however, I'm not an ass clown that takes the fucking ass end of the number. And at 6.5 or 7, when it opened up at 3, that would just be negligent of me to advise anybody to take that. But as far as Vermont winning this game, I think Vermont wins this game. It's a parlay pattern. And also, keep in mind, guys, whenever you think that you have an advantage on an underdog, like I'm going to play with North Florida, remember, you could always arbitrage it. Have multiple books that you go on SBR's odds page. You can click a link to that book that you want to open an account at, and you can start betting one side pregame and then the other side live and try and arbitrage it and just make a free unit. So this is a situation that I look to do that also in.
Yeah, that's just greed, Max. That's just greed. And by the way, Florida, North Florida, plus 375. That gets you plenty chicken tenders. I'm going to come to you now, Donnie. The last game of the day is a UNC Asheville versus Radford. And the visitors are getting 9.5.
Yeah, that's a lot of points to give UNC Asheville, but then you're looking at Carlik Jones and the boys, and what do they not do well? Well, they do just about everything well on offense. Second most efficient team in conference. They don't turn the basketball over. When you take a look at UNC Asheville, these are the interesting matchups, which if you try to equate it to a bigger team like VCU, if they go up against a team they can bully, full court press, and steal the ball from, you don't really have a chance, but those old school Davidson teams that never turned the basketball over always gave VCU problems. This is one of those. Radford doesn't turn the basketball over, so how does UNC Asheville Asheville turn that defensive pressure that they're used to turning teams over into offense, that's going to be a problem tonight. When you take a look at three-point range, Asheville doesn't defend three-point range, but also when you take a look at what Radford does really well. Number 1 in the conference, almost 58% shooting from inside the arc. And if we take a look and say, well, styles make fights in this one, Radford on offense is 3rd in the conference at 53% of their total points coming inside the arc. Well, guess who gives up the most points in conference inside the arc? UNC Asheville. I think Radford wins this game. It's a little bit pricey for me, but then if you flip it down and say, you know what, Radford probably will be up double digits at the half, I can see that. But a stay-away game for me. I do like Radford, but not enough to take them to say, you know what, I guarantee a win by double digits here.
Donnie, I'm going to flick to Max, but I'm going to come back to you for your play of the day. If you've got one, Max, end the show with your play of the day after you've gone through Asheville versus Radford.
Yeah, listen, I think that this is a Radford team that is humming on offense. We're really seeing them being able to up it a notch. I think that this game goes over. First off, my numbers like this game up to 148. So if you can get 143 or 144, it's worth making a play. It's worth making official for the show. And I'll say this, UNC Asheville has the offensive attack to go and give Radford and make them go up tempo. I think with Radford, we've seen so far that this is a team that is able to do so. They're willing to take on that task. I think tonight we see a similar pace to the first game, except we see a reversal of fortunes when it comes to the spread. I think Radford remembers they lost by 13. I think that they beat down Asheville. I think that they win this game by margin. I think they cover 9.5. So Radford 9.5 and over 144 if you can get it. So make that official.
Okay, and can we say that the nose whistler play of the day was Omaha +1?
No, we cannot. Absolutely. No.
What can we say then?
That is definitely not the play of the day. The play of the day is we're going to go to the Big West. It's going to be a 10 o'clock game. UC Davis, my favorite freshman in the Big West, Ezra Manjum's team. He is going to lead that point guard position. He's going to freaking be the difference maker tonight. I think that this UC Davis is improving before our very eyes. I know that Cal Poly is dangerous at home. I am biting the bullet. I'm stepping into the Lions' den, and I'm going with the UC Davis Aggies, and they're taking care of business. So -3, if you can get them, play of the day. Boom.
No worries at all. And yours, Donnie?
Northern Iowa, we're going to take here on the road versus Indiana State. And the reason why I'm staying off, because I do like the first half, too. You're talking about like -1.5, which basically says, hey, Northern Iowa just have the lead at the half, and you're going to cover that. I don't want there to be any lingering hangover, overtime game against your rival. You lost, maybe come out a little bit melancholy here on the road. I don't think that's going to be the case overall, but I do like Northern Iowa full game, -2.5, -112. I think they pick up the victory here. And even if A.J. Green comes out with the face mask on, maybe it takes a couple minutes to get used to it. The second half should be okay. Northern Iowa takes this game down. I think they win by 3 or more. I'll make that my play of the day.
Nice one, Donnie. Nice one, Max. Let's hope we have a great day. Remember, it was choppy yesterday. I'm expecting calm waters, cigars, feet up, and plenty tweets from the pair of you. Keep in touch with the both of them because they do things in play. And at the last minute, Donnie comes up with a gem. We'll see you tomorrow. You take care.